In the year 1347, a ship docked in Sicily. The sailors were dead or dying, black swellings under their arms, fever, delirium, death within days. They called it the Black Death. Within 5 years, 1/3 of Europe was gone. Entire villages emptied. Fields went untended. Churches filled with bodies faster than prayers could be spoken. If you were alive then, you would have believed the world was ending. And in many ways, it was. But here is what the panic obscured. The plague did not just kill. It reorganized. With labor scarce, survivors demanded higher wages. Feudal lords lost their grip. Peasants moved to cities. Cities needed new ideas. And within a generation, the Renaissance was born. This is the first pattern. Civilization does not advance in straight lines. It advances in fractures. The moment everything seems to collapse is often the moment something new forces its way through. But we do not see it when we are inside it. Because pain has a way of shrinking time. A crisis feels eternal. But history is watching in real time. And history has seen this before. Consider the Library of Alexandria, the greatest collection of knowledge the ancient world had ever assembled. Burned, lost, scattered to wind and rumor. We still do not know exactly how much was destroyed. But we know what happened next. Monasteries in Europe began copying texts by hand. Islamic scholars in Baghdad translated what survived into Arabic. Knowledge did not die. It migrated. It found new hosts. And when those texts returned to Europe centuries later, they carried innovations from cultures that had improved upon them. This is the second pattern. Destruction is never total. Ideas are harder to kill than people think. They hide in monks' cells. They travel in merchant caravans. They wait in languages you do not speak. And when the conditions are right, they surface again, stronger, stranger, more complete than before. Now look at the printing press. Johannes Gutenberg did not invent movable type. The Chinese had it 4 centuries earlier. The Koreans had metal type before Gutenberg was born. So what did he actually do? He combined wine presses, metal casting, oil-based ink, Latin alphabet efficiency. None of it was new. The arrangement was new. This is the third pattern. Innovation is rarely invention. It is recombination. The genius is not in creating from nothing. It is in seeing connections that others miss. In standing at the intersection of existing things and asking, what if these touched? Every technology you use today is a Frankenstein of older technologies. Your smartphone contains the work of 1,000 dead minds. Mathematicians who died before electricity. Glassblowers who never saw a transistor. Farmers who selected the first wild grasses and unwittingly began genetics. You are holding their ghosts, and they do not even know they built your world. This is the fourth pattern. Progress is collective amnesia, wearing a mask of individual brilliance. We name the last person in the chain. Edison, Einstein, Jobs, but the chain is thousands of years long, and most of its links are anonymous. A woman in Mesopotamia who first noticed that seeds grow better near riverbanks. A slave in Rome who figured out how to mix concrete that could set underwater. A sailor who by accident discovered that citrus prevents scurvy. They did not know they were building the future. They were solving the problem in front of them. This is the fifth pattern. The most world-changing innovations were not planned. They were side effects of survival. Penicillin was mold that contaminated a petri dish. Microwaves were noticed when a chocolate bar melted near radar equipment. The internet was built so scientists could share data during the Cold War. None of these people woke up intending to transform civilization. They woke up intending to solve one small, specific, boring problem. And that is the secret. Ingenuity does not require vision. It requires proximity. You do not need to see the mountaintop. You need to see the rock in front of your foot. And you need to move it. Now consider the opposite. Civilizations that had everything and lost it. The Maya had astronomy that predicted eclipses. the mathematics to track Venus across centuries. Then, drought came. And they did not adapt their agriculture. They doubled down on ritual. More temples, more sacrifices, more of what had always worked, until the cities emptied and the jungle swallowed their calendars. This is the sixth pattern. The most dangerous moment for any civilization is not crisis. It is the moment after success. When a system works, we stop questioning it. We build institutions around it. We punish deviation from it. And when the environment changes, as it always does, we are too invested in the old answer to hear the new question. Ingenuity is not just about creating, it is about letting go. The ability to abandon what made you great when it stops making sense. This is harder than it sounds, because identity gets attached to method. We do not just lose a technique, we feel like we are losing ourselves. And so we cling to coal, to hierarchy, to the way things have always been done, while the world moves on without us. But here is what history also shows. The pattern repeats, but the players change. No civilization has a monopoly on the next breakthrough. Europe dominated the Industrial Revolution. But gunpowder, the compass, and printing came from Asia. Modern mathematics owes its numerals to India, its algebra to the Islamic Golden Age, its geometry to Greece, its calculus to a rivalry between an Englishman and a German who hated each other. This is the seventh pattern. Genius has no homeland. It appears where curiosity is permitted, where failure is not fatal, where a person can ask a dangerous question and survive the asking. And when those conditions exist, anywhere, the pattern activates. So what does this mean for you? You are living through a moment that future historians will study. Climate change, artificial intelligence, biological engineering, the same ingredients that preceded every major transformation. Crisis, constraint, the old answers failing. And if the patterns hold, something extraordinary is coming. Not because someone planned it, but because thousands of people right now are solving the small, boring problem in front of them. Moving the rock at their feet. Not seeing the mountaintop, just seeing the next step. And taking it. You do not need to be a genius. You need to be present. You need to be willing to abandon what no longer works. You need to be brave enough to recombine what already exists in a way that feels obvious only in hindsight. Because that is what ingenuity actually is. Not lightning from the gods. Not the property of special minds. It is the human default setting. Activated by need. Expressed in small steps. Accumulated across generations. Until one day, someone looks back and calls it progress. The world has ended before. And every time, someone was already building the next one. They just did not know it yet. Neither do you. But the pattern is already in motion.